Episode 254, Confident in the Unknown, with Sam Smith.
Welcome to Latter-day Life Coaches, the podcast where each episode is a conversation between me, Heather Rackham, and one of my amazing coach colleagues. Each coach here is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and a highly trained, experienced life coach making a great impact in the lives of their clients. And together, we have one main goal, helping you live your best life no matter what. You ready for this conversation with the coach? Here we go.
In this episode, Heather sits down with young adult career coach Sam Smith to talk about one of the most universal human experiences, uncertainty. Sam works with 20-somethings who feel paralyzed by big life decisions. Together, Heather and Sam explore why uncertainty is normal and necessary, how faith and trust in heavenly parents reframe our need for certainty, and why our divine identity matters more than our labels. Sam offers 3 concrete tools to move from fear to action and explains how building confidence in uncertainty translates into real-world courage for job interviews, big decisions, and everyday life. Please enjoy.
Hey folks, glad to have you here with us today. I am joined by another amazing coach, Sam Smith today. Hey Sam, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Heather?
I'm fantastic. Sam has not been on with me before, so I am
No.
excited to introduce you guys to somebody that you have not heard with me, and I am looking forward to the conversation as well. So Sam, as we get started here, maybe you could just give us a little glimpse into your life and who you are and why you do what you do.
Yeah, I'd love to. Well, I'm Sam Smith, like Heather said. I'm a certified LCS life coach. I got certified with the life coach school in 2023. I live in Chandler, Arizona. I help primarily young adults become career confident. So anything as far as navigating career choices, deciding what you want to do, just gaining confidence in that realm of the world and making money, that I'm your girl. I recently got married earlier this summer, so I had a lot of exciting life
Congratulations.
changes. Thank
Yeah,
you. So
yeah.
it's been really fun, and I'm just excited to be here.
Yeah, well, I am so excited to have you and really happy that people in this stage of life have somebody that they can go to help a little bit. I remember at this stage in my life thinking it seems really unfair that I have to make the biggest life decisions I feel like I'm ever going to make when I have the least amount of life experience.
Yeah.
But I also think there's something to that as well, because sometimes with life experience comes this desire to have things be really set in stone. And I mean, we all have that desire. We all desire certainty, but I think we desire it even, we're just not used to the ebb and flow of life as much as we are when we're a little bit younger. So I don't, I think there's pros and cons, but anyway.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so glad that you are a resource and are willing to share that with other people.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. It has been quite a long journey. I'm still in my 20s, but I feel like it's hard to navigate sometimes. Like you said, there's a lot of life decisions with career and education being a big one, deciding
Mhm.
what you're gonna do and not knowing like what your life path's gonna be. We don't know what things will come up and arise, and I think sometimes that can make us feel really uncertain.
Oh, for sure. And I really appreciate that you use the term uncertain, because that is really what it is. We all crave certainty in our life, yet it's
Yeah,
also the thing that we have the least of in our life. And
yeah,
because really not much in this life is certain. So I think we'll get to dive into that a little bit today.
yes.
Which also just kind of leads me to this first question that I have, that most young adults, and this is not unique to young adults. This is
Hmm.
like human nature. We are paralyzed by uncertainty about a lot of things, but there is a lot of choices being made at a young adult stage where I feel like it comes up more,
Yeah.
like jobs, relationships, identity. Why do you think uncertainty is such a normal and even necessary part of the stage of our life.
Yeah, I think it's normal because a lot of times we're approaching a lot of new things. And it doesn't matter what age of life you are, I think there's always some new thing that comes in a stage of life. And so I think when we're approaching something new, it just feels uncertain because there's unknown to it.
Hmm.
There's things that you just can't control. You know, even if you move forward and decide something, things can change down the road. And so I think sometimes when we approach new seasons or stages of our life, I think that's why it's very normal to feel uncertain and to feel just unsure about things. I also feel like it can be necessary to feel uncertain because it gives us the opportunity to grow and develop, which I think that's what we're all designed as humans to do. If we knew for sure how something was going to turn out, where's the learning in that? If we're just
Yeah.
like, okay, we know what to do already, versus because it's uncertain, it gives us the opportunity to grow and to develop. And you're just entering a new stage of life. So it can be really exciting.
Yeah, for sure. There's a book, have you read it? And it's called The Sin of Certainty by Peter Enns.
Okay, I haven't read it.
He is not of our faith, but which doesn't mean anything except for I sometimes find it fascinating to read things from people who are religious but not of our faith, just because we think that we are unique, but there's so much overlap, and I love seeing that
Yeah,
overlap. It's called the sin of certainty because we think that we're striving for certainty, that that's what we need in this life, but we are discounting when we are certain about something, we no longer have faith. And faith in
mm,
our life, like especially in our theology, is one of the bases of our religion. It's one of the four, foundational principles if you look at the articles
yeah,
of faith. And so when we seek for certainty, we're actually discounting what faith actually is. And when
wow,
I learned that, that was it kind of gave me a little bit more wiggle room to not always seek for such certainty, but
yeah,
also to lean into a little bit more of what faith is. And for me, faith is trust. And so if I can trust in the process, and like
yeah,
you said, like we're like that's part of the process, right? Is
yeah,
learning and growing. And if I can trust in our heavenly parents' process, then that
exactly.
changes things for me.
Yeah, it does change the game. And I feel like that's why we're here in life is to learn how to develop our faith, learn how to really strengthen our trust with our heavenly parents. So that's where it's like it's normal. If you're feeling uncertain right now in your life, you your brain's working, everything's normal, you're going in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most people love to hear stories of other people's uncertainty in their life, just
Yes.
because I think it makes us feel more normal or nothing's wrong with us. So I'm curious if you can share with us maybe a time when you faced uncertainty and what
Yeah.
helped you through that process.
Yeah. So when I got home from my mission, I like any young missionary, you have a lot of things that you got to decide. It's like, okay, here we go. I'm back into real life. I got to figure out what my goals are now for me personally and things that I'm working on to achieve. You're thinking about dating and marriage. You're also thinking about your career and education. So there was a lot of things I was just kind of feeling almost a little bit overwhelmed. But I did feel a little bit of certainty because before my mission, I went and finished cosmetology school. So I had my license. So when I came back, I was like, okay, I kind of know where I'm going to start. I'm going to get into a hair salon. I'm going to start cutting hair and doing what I know to do. So I did that for about a year. And then things in my life started to become a little bit more uncertain with my career. And I was having a hard time standing on my feet all day. I was starting to get a lot of back pain. So I would go to health professionals and get some help. And I learned there that being on my feet all day was what was causing a lot of pain in my back. And I was like, well, how can I do hair if I can't be on my feet all day? And so my doctor had decided to tell me to, why don't you just take a break for a little bit and then come back to it down the road? And it kind of just felt like a wrench was just thrown into my plans. It was like, no, I'm going to do hair. I'm going to do my life. And I tied my identity a lot to my career and who I was at that point, which isn't always the best way to live your life because when things happen or change with your career, and that shifts, then your identity just shifts with it. And that can feel really uneasy and unshaken. So as I moved forward, I took my break. I worked with health professionals. I was working out to strengthen my back muscles. And then in the process, I got like a part-time job. I was working in different fields and stuff, trying to figure out, what to do. And in the meantime, while as I was strengthening my back, I got into retail management and my back was getting stronger. And I decided just to kind of stay with this one company that I was working with. Things were kind of lifting again. I felt really confident in what I was doing and I was moving up with this company. And things were feeling really great until like 3 years later, I again kind of felt this pull that I needed to do something else, but I just didn't know what it was. And I had a lot of goals and things that I was working on. And this job was also kind of hindering me from being able to date and have a social life. And I wanted to be married and have a family. And it was really hard with this job that was pulling me in this direction. I had a lot of responsibilities and I was needed there quite often. So that led me to kind of have to make a decision and figure out what I wanted to do next. And then even though I was feeling uncertain, I started leaning in to Heavenly Father. I was praying a lot more, like, just help me make a decision and figure out, like, you could just like give me a blueprint of what to do next. That would be great. But of course, God doesn't do that because He trusts us and He wants us to use our agency. So my aunt gave me a podcast to listen to. It was Better Than Happy by Jody Moore. And she's a life coach and she uses the gospel and ties it in with life coaching. And it was so enlightening. And I felt like I got a lot of clarity in my life at that point on where to start taking action. And I also started thinking like maybe this is something I could do as well. And one thing led to the next. And now here I am as a life coach, helping other people navigate careers, navigating their emotions, and learning how their brain works. It's challenging. I still am figuring things out day to day, and I don't have a blueprint for the rest of my life to see how everything's going to turn out. But I just know from experience that you have to keep taking action and just keep going. Uncertainty is always going to be there, but you can still create what you want amidst the uncertainty.
I think what is so beautiful about, well, one of the things that I think is really beautiful about what you just shared is that you said a couple different times, like in your
Yeah.
life, you've started to feel a nudge to do something different. And
Yeah.
for a lot of us, that can be like, oh, we just downplay it and just, like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's just my own. I'm just, I'll just ignore that. But I think what we learn to understand is that those are those little desires are things given to us by our heavenly parents to show us more about ourselves, to show
Yeah.
us more of our fullness and what we have inside of us. And we get nervous to follow those things because it does lead you into a
Yeah.
world of uncertainty, but it is where a lot of the beauty happens. And so I think it's so important for us to listen to those nudges. And even though they can be scary, to really kind of pay attention because I think they're God-given desires to help us to find other things out about ourselves.
Yeah, I think so too. Those nudges, and I think sometimes we easily can ignore them because we're like, no, like everything just kind of is working how it should. I'm just going to keep going this direction. But one thing I learned is that those like nudges never go away, especially as you're developing your faith and you're trying to come closer to Heavenly Father. Those nudges almost will get louder and stronger. And then it's like, okay, I got to do it and I got to take the
Mhm.
plunge. And I feel like if our heavenly parents are nudging us, they're also going to be there with us on the journey. It's not like they're just nudging us to jump off the cliff by yourself. They're nudging us to be like, hey, we're going to make the jump with you.
Yes. Oh, that's so fantastic and so good. Such a good point. So if anybody's listening and is feeling really stuck, and I'm sure that is most people are probably feeling stuck in some
Mm-hmm.
area of their life. So I think that's probably most people listening, but
Yes.
can you give us some practical steps that can take us from this place of fear to more of a place of action and being able to do what we want to do?
Yeah. So three things that I like to do or like I like to help my clients do is just to remember to keep taking action. just start somewhere. We're not going to know how to do everything step by step in the beginning. We'll know at the end, like once we've completed it or we reached our goal or we got into our destination, we'll know all the steps. But in the beginning, we're not going to know the steps. But we always usually know the first step to take, whether it's to start doing some research or to start, asking someone for help or their advice. We always know the first step. And then that step will lead to the next step. So just take it step by step, but just start taking action. And that's how you end up figuring it out. The second thing is I always like to try to stay present or grounded. A lot of times when I'm feeling uncertain, I'm always in my head, or a lot of times my clients are in my head, or they're spending a lot of energy and space just kind of focused and worried about the future. So I like to bring myself back to the present. And you can do this through meditations, or like I like to kind of focus on my five senses, just something simple that brings me back to just where I am right now, where I'm focusing on what I seeing, what am I smelling, what am I tasting and hearing and feeling. And it just kind of brings you back to the moment so that I can make the best decision for the moment that I'm in right now. You don't have to decide anything about your future. You just need to decide what you need to do right now. And then the last thing, which in general, this should also probably be the first thing, but always lean into Jesus Christ. Use your Savior. That's why he's there. Heavenly Father designed him and put him as like a central part of the plan of salvation. And so I feel like we need to use him and utilize his power and just really lean into him. He's been here. He knows how we're feeling. He understands the emotions that we're feeling. And so leaning into him and really inviting him into our plans and what we're doing really can make all the difference and help bring us a sense of confidence that can keep us going in the long run.
Those are all so good. So when you first started talking about taking the first step, I like my mind instantly came to, I'm significantly older than you, so let's remember this. But when I jump on to like a navigational app, I'm always like, okay, which direction is this wanting me to go? Like I can't figure
Right?
out which direction to go. I have to take a couple of steps in order for me to figure out where it is this blue line
Exactly.
is trying to take me on this navigational app.
Hmm.
And so that's like the visual that came to my mind was that, oh, yeah, sometimes we just have to orient ourselves, and taking a couple steps is really what
Yes.
does that. And then, to your last point involving Jesus Christ, I think a lot of us are really good at accessing, well, we're getting better at accessing the redemptive power of our Savior, but we forget that there's
Yeah.
that enabling power that, and I kind of like you to use the word even ennobling, like the noble part. I don't even know if that's a word, but ennobling,
Yeah.
like he helps us to be, noble and to make divine decisions that are going to help us and enable us to find our fullness inside of us. So I think those are fantastic.
Yeah, those are something I always look back and like lean into. If I'm feeling uncertain, I'm like, okay, just something simple. And if anything, you guys can use that as your blueprint. Like if your mind needs a blueprint, just focus on like those three steps, and that can just be your blueprint to help you when you're feeling uncertain.
Mhm. I think over time, I certainty like that need for certainty is kind of a muscle that we start to flex, learning how to be live in an in uncertainty, right? Like it's a muscle we have
Yeah.
to learn how to strengthen how we live with uncertainty in our life.
Yeah.
And I think when we do that, the need for certainty does begin to fade a little bit. So, can you talk to us a little bit about when uncertainty begins to fade, how people have more energy, how they're able to have more focus? Like, what does it look like in their life, like real life situations where uncertainty fading it affects them in their real day to day life?
Yeah. I have seen uncertainty fade a lot more when people understand who they are. They understand their identity, they understand really their purpose. The world likes to put a lot of labels on us, and we have all these different names and things that we may go by that aren't exactly true. And that leads us to believe certain things about ourselves, which can cause uncertainty in ourselves when we're going to take action or make a decision. But if we truly understand our true identities and who we are, and really have a solid foundation of that, our confidence will elevate and shine through and really help us make the best decisions for our lives and really help us approach any situation, no matter if we understand what's going to happen or not down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how simple President Nelson keeps our identities. He has always said that our identity is a child of God, that our identity is a child of the covenant and a disciple of Jesus Christ. And even if we could keep it that simple and not only understand that, but believe that we are those things, I feel like that will diminish uncertainty and really help elevate our confidence in our life as we're moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think of, I think it was Adam Grant maybe in Atomic Habits. I totally could have it wrong. Or Think Again. Maybe it's Think Again. No, Adam Grant didn't write Atomic Habits. Anyway, I'm looking at my books over here.
I
But
think it's
anyway,
James Clear,
James
Atomic
Clear wrote
Habits.
Atomic Habits. You're right. Thank you.
Yes.
But I think it was Adam Grant in Think Again, his book Think Again,
Okay.
where he talks about holding on loosely to our identities, just like what you said. Like the more
Yeah.
we hold tight to what we think we are, the much more difficult it becomes for us to discover more of what's in us because we kind of stifle our growth when we're just stuck holding on to, no, this is who I am. And you're right, like we put
Yeah.
so many labels on ourselves. I could totally be getting the author and the book wrong, but I felt like it was one of those.
No.
But I just think it's so important to remember that. Like we like labels. We love to label
Yeah.
things and which is great until it's not helpful for us. And
Yes.
then we have to kind of loosen our grip on it a little bit. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
okay.
I agree.
Tell us, how does developing confidence through uncertainty, because like I said, I feel like that's a muscle that we developed. How
Yes.
does that translate into everyday experience for somebody who's maybe going into a job interview or making big life decisions?
Yeah, I think we learn a lot when we face uncertainty and then we're able to go in and develop that confidence because then we go into other aspects of our life, like you said, job interview, big life decisions, and we're a lot more confident because we know even though I go in and I'm feeling uncertain how that job interview went, I can still be confident and I can still gain my confidence just knowing that, first of all, God has a plan for me. Everything's working out. Even if this interview didn't turn out how I thought, I learned something from it that is helping now adding to my confidence and going in. I mean, the more job interviews you do, you're just going to become more confident. You're learning how to approach someone and really share how valuable you could be to that company. You're also learning how to be a good interviewer back. I think sometimes when we go in and do job interviews, we think that we're the only ones getting interviewed, but it's also an opportunity for us to interview them to see if it's a good fit for our life and what we're looking for. As far as approaching big life decisions, I think we're always gonna have big decisions that we're gonna have to make. I know right now in our 20s, it's probably a lot of dating, who are we gonna marry, who we're gonna spend our time with, career, figuring that out, jobs, moving, where are we gonna live? But even down the road as we get older, we're still probably gonna have to have decisions about, our children and how we're gonna raise them and even move. You might make moves down the road, or you might even transition your career down the road and things like that, or things with your health that you might have to decide. There's always going to be decisions, but I think in the long run, the more we can just face uncertainty head on, we'll build our confidence over time. We'll build our identities and who we are. And in the long run, I think everything just kind of cycles through. Sometimes life feels repetitive, but I think it's repetitive for a reason. It gives us the opportunity to really develop relationships, to grow, and to really strengthen our identities.
Mhm. I mean, how powerful is, I mean, I know for me, if I can actually be really intentional about going back and looking at my life and being like, okay, how did I handle this uncertain situation. Like I've done this so many
Yeah,
times before, giving myself
exactly.
evidence to prove that I've actually done this many, many times. And if I can look at a time where I felt like I navigated it pretty well, like how can I carbon copy that into this situation, right? And what were the
Exactly.
things that I can learn from how I handled uncertainty before to how to handle uncertainty today? And I think that it just gives us proof. We've given ourselves a ton of proof our whole life, but we just have to intentionally
Hmm.
look for it.
Yeah, you just got to make connections and use those strengths. You're
Yeah.
building them for a reason so that you can have them down the road or you can share them with someone else who might be in a similar situation.
Yeah, for sure. I am sitting here talking, with you and thinking at the same time how fantastic it is that the people making decisions and in your stage of life right now have somebody that is there, kind of is in their same shoes, doing the same things. It's so nice to have somebody that
Yeah,
you feel like is relatable to you, that you can use to as a resource to walk through these decisions with you, because it feels a little bit more like, oh, she gets it. Like she's where I am right now. So anyway, I'm
yeah.
grateful. I think that's awesome. Before we leave today, I would love if you could maybe tell us if you could leave a message with young adults about uncertainty, what would you want them to remember as they move forward, as life feels really unclear?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I'd want you guys to remember is just that uncertainty is a part of life. We're all going to experience that one another, maybe more often than we think. But just knowing that it's okay. Just even let yourself pause when you're feeling uncertain. Recognize that you're probably going to be aware when you are feeling uncertain and just tell yourself, okay, this is uncertainty. This is what it feels like. I've experienced this. I can do this because you can. You're gonna figure it out. You always have. And I just think, like Heather said earlier, is that if we can remember and build that evidence and tell ourselves, like, even if we have to write it down, which is so helpful, and just be like, okay, this experience I was feeling uncertain, but then I figured it out this way.
Hmm.
And this experience I was feeling uncertain and I figured out how to do it this way. If we show up for ourselves like that, we're going to be able to conquer anything. And you can still move forward despite uncertainty. That's not something that holds you back. It's just yourself. You can tell yourself it's uncertain and keep moving forward, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Uncertainty doesn't need to mean that you're stifled or you're stuck. Like actually,
Yeah.
uncertainty is how we move forward. It's part of the plan. So that's awesome. Well, Sam, can you tell people how they can connect with you if they have questions or if they
Yeah.
want to talk with you about some of the uncertainty in their life? How can they best connect with you?
Yeah, the best way is probably on my website. I give everyone a free 30-minute call with me. So if you've never been coached, great opportunity to hop on, see if we're a good fit, see if I can help you in any way. Sometimes people hop on and they get all the help they need in one call. And then sometimes other people realize, like, okay, this could be a good fit. Let's move forward. So probably starting there, or you can also find me on my Instagram and we could chat there as well.
Awesome. We will link to Sam's website on in the show notes here and to her
Perfect.
Instagram. But just for ease, will you just tell people the name of your website if they want to just hop
Yeah.
right over to there?
Yeah, my website is samsmithcareercoach.com.
Awesome. Nice and easy. Well, Sam, thank you so much. It was delightful to visit with you today, and I know very informative and helpful for people that are listening. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Have a fantastic day, everybody, and we hope you join us again next time and share this episode with the people in your life who you know are experiencing uncertainty. And there's a lot of it at that stage of life where Sam is right now, but a lot of us in other stages of life are experiencing uncertainty as well. And anyway, what a great resource. They'll love you for sharing this. Thanks, everybody. Hey, we just wanted to thank you for spending part of your day here with us at Latter day Life Coaches and being part of this conversation. Share this with your friends so that you can have a conversation with them on this topic as well. And as always, subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Have a good one, my friends.